Crime chat is where it's at. We talk about crimes, and that's that.
Ding.
I love it. I love it. Diddy is nightmare fuel.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So I watched the documentary on Netflix,
And I did
Sean
not.
Combs, The Reckoning, and I hung on every word. Mm-hmm. Like, I was obsessed. Mm-hmm. I was obsessed, and then I made sure that Paul, my husband, knew everything that I found out. Even though he doesn't care. That's fine. You know. I care a lot.
Of course, yes.
So, that's all that matters.
And that's why you have me, because I also care.
Yes. Okay, so the beginnings of Diddy. So he grew up, born and raised in Harlem, to a single mom. And one of the interviews mentioned that his dad was like a mobster, wasn't in his life at all, but they claim that that's kind of where he got his, like, you know, this is what I want, my way, I'm gonna get what I want kind of thing. And so, like, that makes sense for, like, the rest of the stuff we're gonna talk about. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I definitely, like, definite mobster energy, for sure. And so he got his start in his career in the biz. I guess he was an intern at Uptown Records. So he was seemingly like a go-getter. Like, he never stopped promoting and working. Like, that was, like, his whole thing. Like, he never stopped promoting. And then, in December of 1991, he put together a celebrity charity basketball game. And it took place at the City College of New York in Harlem. Back then, he was known as Puff Daddy. He's had so many names, I don't even...
Weird ones, too, that, yeah. Mm-hmm. Did not go well, but yeah.
Just why? Anyway, so Puff Daddy, he got this basketball game together, and it was a tragedy. So there was too many people because he wouldn't stop promoting, and then what happens when you have too many people is there was a fucking stampede, and yeah, 9 people died, and it was absolutely insane. And this actually kind of, like, it made a name for him. Like, it kind of made him famous, or should I say infamous. Like, everybody knew who Diddy was after that. Everybody knew Puff Daddy after that. Like I said, he's nightmare fuel, right? So I'm wondering if, like, that could have had some kind of, like, taken some kind of toll on him. Like, kind of put on, like, a black mark on his heart or whatever, you know? So anyway, that's just my take on that.
Well, and with that, that first big get-together that he had, he knew the cap, the max, that would be able to safely attend.
Yeah.
And he kept, like you said, he kept letting people come in, and he knew it was a safety hazard.
You don't care?
But he knew also the bigger the party, the bigger the... people will talk about it, the more people will talk about it, and he wanted that fame, he wanted that notoriety, so he was like, yeah, keep coming. And what did it get him? More notoriety. So
yep.
Yeah,
got him what he wanted, but like, the cost is just
exactly.
yeah. Now, of course, Diddy might just be a psychopath who doesn't care about that sort of thing. Like, he probably was like, oh man, but I'm so famous now, so whatever. But if it was me, and if, like, me promoting something, if I did something that, like, caused the deaths of, like, all those people, like, I would not be able to continue,
right?
You know? But he continued.
or even own up to it. Like, yeah, oh my god, I should not have done that. Yes, I was trying to boost my name, and that was my bad at the very least, but he didn't, you know. And, oh yeah, he's a trash human. Sorry. Yeah. He's just a trash human.
Yeah, nightmare fuel. So in this documentary, my favorite person, I think, who talked, because he had so many things to say, was the co-founder of Bad Boy, was Kirk Burroughs. And he managed Bad Boy finances, and he, like, obviously he worked very closely with Diddy, so he kind of talked about how there was, like, it was all about power for him, and it was a manipulative marketing style. So, like, he needed to manipulate people rather than letting the talent stand on its own. Like, kind of, so it seems to me like Diddy's always been kind of just like this master manipulator all the time. Like, all he wants is more power and more power and more fame, more money. He was also very jealous of the talent that he found. Like, it wasn't enough for him to have this talent and to make them more famous. Like, he had to insert himself
he wouldn't
somewhere.
Just let them shine.
Yeah. And he was very controlling. One of the quotes from Kirk Burroughs was, with Sean, sometimes you're humiliated, sometimes violent things happen to you. So, like, he just sort of, like, I'm going to get what I want regardless of, you know, and no matter what you say, like, you're going to do what I say. I'm kind of the whatever, big dog or whatever.
Well, and I wanted to kind of piggyback off of the him always wanting the spotlight, or at least a piece of it, because no matter who he put in the spotlight or helped rise to fame or get a glimpse of it, every music video he had to be in.
Yep.
Every song he had to somewhat influence, either with trying to rap, because he really...
So you have this Kirk Burroughs guy, but then kind of to go back to what you were saying. So Mark Curry is another, he was an artist on Bad Boy. He's another guy who did lots of interviews in this documentary. And he talks about how, like, he was always kind of inserting himself. He always had to be there, but then he would also, like, withhold money from the artists, and, like, he would withhold their, like, royalty checks and stuff like that. And just, he wasn't paying them fairly.
Just that manipulation and coercion, and
you're
just tied to me, and
and I mean, just to go back to, like, having to insert himself, even like Danny Kane, like that Damaged song.
Yep.
Diddy's voice at the end, like, you know, and it's like, why? Like,
this is not yours.
It's not your song. Yeah. So he always had to claim credit, even when, like, he had nothing to do with the song. He would claim it in the credits of, like, the music video or whatever. Like, his name had to be in. But it's funny because they basically talked about how, like, Diddy didn't really have any talent of his own at all. So he was just very jealous of, like, all these people. And so it's just, it's funny.
To be fair, he didn't have musical talent. He didn't have rapping talent, whatever. He was really good at business.
Yeah, he was very talented in business.
As trash of a person he was good at creating businesses and making them grow.
Yeah.
Could he not have just been happy with that? And that people were coming to him to become something.
Yeah.
Was good for him. Let them do that. And if he would have just backed off and let them do that, he would have amassed a much bigger following and fame instead of infamy.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, yeah.
It was just a constant power trip, and, like, nobody really had a voice. It was his voice, and it was what he wanted to do. Yeah, and then another guy who did interviews was Al B. Shore, who was an artist on Uptown Records, Kim Porter's ex. So Kim Porter was working as a receptionist at Uptown Records, and then she was dating Al B. Shore. And then, suddenly, here comes Diddy. Oh, look at that receptionist. Like, suddenly, Kim's dating Diddy instead of, like, Al B. Shore, and it's just, like... He's
a shark.
Yeah, he had to always take what everyone else had. He couldn't just... I mean, even making the band, like Danny Kane, like, I loved that show, but, like, it was not necessary. Like, he wanted that show because he wanted to be like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm in the show, I'm the main character, whatever. But, like, no, you're creating a band, and Danny Kane was great on its own.
He wasn't original on anything.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he wanted, like you said, he wanted everything other people had instead of making a name for himself.
Yeah. So yeah, he just, like, he used his power to control people, and actually, Al B. Shore, I don't remember exactly if this was from the documentary or from, like, somewhere else, but he strongly alleges, and these are allegations, people, we're not saying that anything happened, okay.
Until you get to my part when I talk about the court case.
Yeah, so I'm only talking about allegations, okay? But, Al B. Shore strongly alleges that Diddy has something to do with Kim's death. Actually, her book is on my Amazon wishlist right now. I don't know. So as soon as I like heard all the like Kim Porter stuff, I was like, add to wish list. Like, I want to know what she had to say because I don't believe anything he has to say ever about anything. So Biggie was a bad boy artist, and he was amazing, and a bunch of people loved him, and Diddy was super jealous of that. And then Biggie and Tupac were friends, and Tupac didn't want to sign with Diddy. Tupac didn't respect him, and so Diddy was just like very jealous of their friendship, and he like would pit them against each other. And anyway, but I am gonna get all into Tupac and Biggie just a little bit later. I'm gonna let there's so much to talk about.
There's so much to unfold. Yeah. I'm
like chomping at the bit here, but basically, so far, Diddy is super controlling. Mm-hmm. He isn't just gonna let the talent stand on its own merits. He's got to insert himself. And he's also just like a deplorable human being in general. There's been a lot of footage of him. I mean, we can get into the court case now because I know that you have all of that.
What I do want to kind of preface it all with before I start talking about it is none of what is said about what happened in court was televised because it wasn't allowed. Mm-hmm. So there were no video or audio recordings allowed in this court for any of the Diddy sessions. So all of this is like the court reporters come out and immediately start recording for their people, so that they can get it out and be as fresh as possible from their mind. So we're getting that kind of perspective. So it's very different. There are no photos. It's all hand drawn from, court drawings and things like that.
Oh, yeah, have you seen those? He looks crazy.
So it's a very different kind of perspective. I really love watching all the court cases, like the Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, all that kind of stuff. I love watching all those, but we didn't have that this time. So there's all of that background that was really important that you just talked about that you have to understand, because you hear Diddy nowadays, or I guess before all this happened, and we know he's a rapper, we know he's a big name, we know he dated important celebrities and hot people, all this stuff. But what you don't really know, because tight lips, you just don't know. And so once one person, and in this case, that one person was Cassie, opens the floodgates, then you have so many allegations that are coming out like, you know what? Thank you for saying that, Cassie. This happened to me too. Or, hey, something similar happened. I went to that party. I can back her up on that. Or all this stuff. There was zero. I found zero people, zero court reporters, anybody. Nobody was coming to defend Diddy. Absolutely nobody. And so it was really interesting to me because he has allegedly, this isn't allegedly because it hasn't been proven, he has allegedly paid millions of dollars to people to kill, hush, all this kind of stuff. He can't afford a couple million to come and speak on his behalf at his court case hearings. So I don't know, that was kind of going through my head too. But, so I did look up, I was curious about the whole, I'm going to start kind of from the earlier days, the whole Suge Knight, Tupac, because I was curious. I was like, okay, where did that start? Yeah. And so in the 90s, and I think we might talk on this later too, but that whole like feud, West Coast, East Coast kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Bad Boy versus Death Row Records, which, can I just sidebar? Death Row Records, that's such a better name.
Bad Boy.
I mean, Bad Boy, like, how old are you anyway?
It sounds really,
Death Row Records, that's hardcore. I'm like, yeah, man, I want to listen to Death Row Records. I don't want to listen to Bad Boy anyway.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to say it with an embarrassed, kind of sheepish, like, Bad Boy. I'm a Bad Boy record. No.
Yeah, and it kind of, I don't know, now, like, knowing Diddy and, like, knowing all the, like, weird stuff, like... Yeah. He was like, I'm such a bad boy, whatever. But it's like, you're just...
No.
You're...
Just no.
Yeah.
You're no.
Nope.
No. So I did look up a lot of, like, I researched the different vernacular and things that were used in court, because I know he was charged with trafficking, sex trafficking, racketeering. He had a RICO charge. I'm like, okay, so I know some of these words, but I didn't really know what they were in terms of what was happening, kind of thing. I'm like, I don't even know what Diddy did. But legally, we have as far back as, I would say, Cassie, in terms of people who are still alive, who were coming to court against him. Which, again, nobody came to defend him, so...
Yeah.
They were the only witnesses were called by prosecution, not by the defense. And she was called first. She was the first witness of the whole trial, because she was almost about, like, she was gonna give birth. She was that pregnant. And so it was very unlike, or uncommon, I guess it is uncommon, for the prosecution to give, like, their bombshell witness right off the bat.
Yeah.
Especially in a case this big, because they want the jury to remember the biggest thing they have, you know, and she was it.
Yeah.
But she was about to give birth, and so they were like, let's get her out of the way first so she can go safely have this baby.
Yeah.
But she did. She was very convincing and was hard to listen, apparently. Obviously, we didn't get to watch it or hear it firsthand, but according to all of the court reporters who were there and then rushed out to give their side of it, you know, they said that there were pictures and short videos of the freak-offs that she says she was forced into, and all of these things. And they said it was very convincing that it was not her choice. And that Diddy, which one of those charges that are against him was racketeering. I'll go ahead and define that one really quick because it is important to what I'm about to say. Oxford Dictionary defines it as dishonest and fraudulent business dealings. Pretty broad. However, when you combine it with the sex trafficking, which is coercing or manipulating whatever, someone to involve them in some kind of sex act that they do not want to do.
Yeah.
Then you have that with the racketeering, it becomes RICO.
Okay.
So that's kind of how all of those three things are intertwined, and it has to involve a group of people. So it's not just one person. It's not just Diddy. That was what the whole court case prosecution was really trying to prove, was that it's not just Diddy.
Yeah.
He has this whole group of people, or he's got at least one other person in it with him, pulling these people across state lines, these sex workers. Cassie, there were some other women that went on record too, saying that they forced them because of record deals. I'm going to promise you 10 tracks or 10 albums.
Yeah.
And never happened, and he kept saying, well, okay, you're going to do this with me, and well, what about my album? Oh yeah, it's happening, but you're going to do this with me first. That's coercion.
Yeah.
And so this is all intertwined, and so that was really hard for the prosecution to prove that he was not doing this by himself, that there was someone else in it with him. And so that RICO charge was hard to prove, but the sex trafficking and the racketeering, I mean, we've seen the video of Cassie in the hotel, and I think we'll talk about that too, but he was abusive. He had a big temper.
Yeah.
He was a child. I mean, he didn't get his way. He threw a temper tantrum.
Yeah. In the documentary, actually, so Gene Deal, who was his personal bodyguard in the 90s to 2000s, so Gene Deal claims that he saw Kim Porter all bruised up in the hospital, like, you know, and so he saw her all bruised up in the hospital, and then he I guess went to ask, like, hey, like, what happened, whatever. But of course, like, you're married to Diddy, like, you're not gonna say anything, right? Because Diddy's such a piece of shit. So
well, that, and I mean, you have to also think, take celebrity status out of it, you're in an abusive relationship. You know, and if you've never been in an abusive relationship, I'll take that one for you because I have, and it's such a weird cyclical paradigm because what they're doing to you is wrong. What they're doing to you is abuse. But they have that manipulation. It's there. They have a hold on you. They have it's a power shift. Yeah. And whatever she had that he wanted or that he had that he was promising to her was enough for her to either be afraid to try to leave, afraid to speak up, or afraid to do anything. And it was all, I get it. I get her perspective. I understand that from that perspective. And then you jump in and put celebrity in it. Of course, your name's going to be smeared all in the press. Who will believe you against this mogul?
Yeah.
Golly, I can't even imagine being these women,
Yeah. Like, nobody paints a pretty picture of Diddy. Like, nobody.
So, just in case you have not seen the video, but you're listening to this, I will explain it to you in a very small, condensed version.
And we're talking about Cassie and Diddy in a hotel. Yes.
And what we see is the perspective of a camera looking at the hallway of the elevators. Elevators are on the right side when you're looking through this perspective, and it's a hallway. And then it looks like if you were to go down past the elevators, to your right is another hallway situation. But we can't see it. We just know it's kind of there. And then we see Cassie coming from that direction and repeatedly pushing on the elevator door to call it. And then she pulls up her phone. And then we see she's fully clothed. She looks, from what we can see in a not so great perspective, we see her profile side, right? We don't see her face. We see her right side. We see Diddy come running from our angle, right side hallway. He has a towel wrapped around his otherwise naked body, we assume. We don't know what's underneath the towel. It's a white towel wrapped around his middle and nothing else on. He comes and he grabs her by her hair and pulls her down, like yanks her down to the ground and kicks her while she's on the ground, and she doesn't move. And then that's the first part of the video that anybody has ever seen. And then later we get a little bit more of the video, so we see that again, and then we see him dragging her by her hair down that hallway area, and then we get the other perspective of a different hallway, which we're assuming is that hallway down the right side. And I think at that point she had gotten up, and he throws a vase, or an object, which we later know is a vase, a glass vase, after her, and we see it shatter off to the left side of the camera where he throws it.
Oh my God.
And he's sitting down now on a stool or a chair at the end of that hallway, still wrapped only in a towel. So that's the video that is pretty widely seen at this point. Did I get most of that right from what you remember?
I think so, yeah. Okay. There's no denying any of that. Like,
right.
It's clearly him, it's clearly her.
Right.
Like, what's happened is clearly just like there's no defending that at all. Like, that's clear cut, like, physical abuse. Mm-hmm. That's what it, there's no room to question anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't in self-defense. It wasn't, there was none of that. So, there were no weapons other than the vase that he threw at her and his hand and his foot. But yeah, so that was that. And that, to me, I'm looking at my notes here, like, kind of like what you just said, Lisa, that seals the deal for him that he's a monster. Mm-hmm. He's got rage. He's an abuser. Yeah. And she was trying to get away from him, and he refused her to leave. So that's where in the case, the prosecutors had also charged him with kidnapping. That could have been, allegedly, one of the kidnapping proof pieces. Because there were other instances with other people completely different than this that also went under that kidnapping charge. Mm-hmm. but she was trying to leave. He physically stopped her from leaving and pulled her back to the room where we hear later there was a freak off that she wanted to leave, and he did not want her to leave.
What a piece of shit.
Yes.
I don't...
And
nightmare fuel, like I keep saying.
We know now that the freak-offs consisted of sex, drugs, alcohol.
Baby oil.
A lot of baby oil. And I'm seeing
We've all heard about that. And people listening to this, like this, obviously, like we're laughing, like none of this is funny, no. But like we're just, we're just chatting, we're just crime chatting.
It's just crime chat.
But like honestly, like if we don't make jokes about this stuff, like it's just, you just scream and cry.
Yeah, what else do you do? I mean, holy. So the thing is that, again, ties back into he's refusing to let her leave kidnapping. He's refusing to let her leave a sexual situation, sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, there are other people of power in that room. We don't know.
Yeah.
But more than likely, because it's going to be kind of hard to keep a lot of people in one room because you're one person. So more than likely, there are multiple people of power in that room.
Yeah. Which
then becomes racketeering because you're a group now.
Yeah.
Right? And that is probably going to have some kind of financial gain because you have some power over these people who are making you money, right? You're a music producer.
Yeah.
You have a hold on them. You have your thumb on them and you have them where you want them.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this is tied into all of these charges that he's faced with.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, the kidnapping charges, again, there were other people, but all the kidnapping charges were dismissed. Which, I love our legal system, and I hate our legal system. Because sometimes I'm like, no. Anyways, so that's that video, that notorious video. And I can't imagine how difficult it would have been for Cassie to be up on that stand, 8.5 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Watching this video, describing it. I'm sure she's said it 10,000 times already, which the more you talk about things, the easier it gets.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I can't imagine what that was like for her.
Yeah. Just the strength that you need to be able to do that. Just like, plus like being pregnant, like all the emotions, like I can't. Another part of this documentary where there was Mark Curry, who was an artist on Bad Boy. He did he said a lot of things in this interview, but something that he mentioned Shine Barrow. Shine Barrow was another Bad Boy artist who he was at a club with Diddy when Diddy was dating J-Lo. And again,
forgot about that.
Allegations, right? I'm not saying Diddy did it.
He did date J-Lo. What's the allegation?
But he did date J-Lo, right?
Okay.
But okay, so this guy, Shine Barrow, right? He was at this club with Diddy. Suddenly a gun gets pulled and 3 people get injured. So the allegation, that's an allegation, right? That I'm not saying that he did it. But
he probably did.
But he probably did. I think I'm allowed to say that. Anyway, Shine Barrow was pled guilty to it. And I think this was a cover. So Mark Curry talks about an album deal. Shine taking the fall for Diddy in exchange for $1 million. And then, so Shine goes to prison for 10 years. And then when he got out after 10 years, he got an album deal, which allegedly this album deal was to cover up the $1 million that he was paid to take the fall. So just, he's very he's not only is he a sexual monster, right? But he's also just like a
crime lord.
Just a crime lord monster. So there's so many different terrible, awful, shitty aspects of this human being. And just watching this documentary, I didn't know that there was, because all I had seen up to that point was like the trial stuff, the stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But then I hadn't really looked into it because, I mean, honestly, like, it wasn't really, like, Diddy, he's a piece of shit. Like, he looks like a piece of shit. Like, I didn't really bother myself with, like, oh, what's he doing now? Right? But then I saw this documentary, and I'm, like, hearing all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, my God, it goes so much deeper and further than just the freak-offs that, you know. I mean, and I say just the freak-offs, that's awful
abhorrent,
and abhorrent, yeah. But there's so much more abhorrent stuff. Like, I didn't even know who Shine Barrow was, but yeah, I totally believe that he took $1 million to go to prison for 10 years. Totally believe that. And, yeah, because, you know, Diddy's like, I'm going to make you a big star. You just have to go to prison for me. And because, like, at that time, he was probably the biggest name in the business anymore to, like, make somebody make that Shine Barrow guy. Like, he was like, this is it. I have to.
West Coast. I mean, he could have done Diddy, or he could have done.
Yeah.
Why can't I think of his name? Suge Knight. Thank you.
Yeah. But I don't know. I heard that and I was like, what? Like, I would never, like, for $1 million, like, I'm not going to prison. Yeah. Like, I don't give a shit about it. Just, I don't know. Anyway.
The depravity of some people. I mean, it's just, money is everything, you know. I just can't. Yeah. I mean, and you say that $1 million payoff, that comes up more than once.
Yeah.
To different people for different reasons.
Yeah. We'll get into another big one. But, but anyway, so the story was that Shine, like, had this gun and he was crazy and he, like, just, like, whatever. But then in an interview, and I don't recall exactly right now who said it in the documentary, but apparently Diddy had a pistol that he liked to wave around, you know, and he did things like Kirk Burroughs, when he was finally, like, fired for a reason I'll get into later, like, Diddy, in order to get his, like, percentage of the business back, like, Diddy went after him with the baseball bat. Now, we've talked about, like, the Cassie of it all in the trial, but was there anybody else, any other, like, major players that did testify against Diddy?
Yeah, so talking about Cassie, Kid Cudi was a big one too, because Kid Cudi dated Cassie after she broke up, or finally broke up with Diddy. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that too. That works just fine. We'll keep that in. After they broke up and she got away from him, Kid Cudi and she started dating, and it wasn't a very long relationship, but they were dating, and he got death threats. And at some point his house was broken into, and shortly after that, or it may have even been that same occurrence when his house was broken into, there was a Molotov cocktail thrown into his Porsche in the front seat.
Oh, man.
But it was a threat that was it was documented. The threat, it was either in text or email, but it was a written threat that he was going to blow up Kid Cudi's Porsche and to watch himself. And it was from Diddy, yet Diddy completely 100% denies the whole accusation.
So, like, if you're gonna do that, don't put it in writing.
Write it down.
Don't put it in writing. Like, it's not hard.
It's not hard to not kill people.
But it's also not hard to, like, don't leave a fucking paper trail. Are you stupid? Anyway.
It's not hard to not be stupid.
Yeah, like.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, just, you know, or like, if you're gonna make a death threat, just, like, do it verbally.
Well, and then there were so many, I don't know if this came up in the documentary, again, I didn't watch it, but in the case, in a lot of the different people who showed up and the testimonies and everything, there were a lot of people that had different kind of meetings, I say that in air quotes, with Diddy, and it would be very almost like movie-like, the way he would have them come to a giant warehouse or something alone, and it was just him in the room with, like, his hands behind his back facing a window, and then they would come up to him and be like, so yeah, kind of thing, and he would turn around all like Matrix, style, and bribe them or try to bribe them with $1 million, kind of thing, to do this or don't do that.
He was just a jealous jelly belly.
Yeah.
Jelly belly wannabe. And I mean, he had so much, like, he had created Bad Boy Records. Like, he co-founded that shit. Like, and that's huge. That was an accomplishment.
Yeah.
That's huge. Like, just take that. Like, take that gigantic win. Like, is it really, are you really so stuck on the fact that you have to be a rapper?
Right.
Like, do you really have to, like, just be happy with what you have? Right. Because you have way more than most.
He also, like, created different fashion things, and I mean, he branched out in a lot of things, and he succeeded at most of them.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't he be okay with that?
Yeah.
I don't understand that greed at that level. It's a good thing. I guess I don't understand it, but anyway, so that was kind of the big ones, I guess, that testified against Diddy. There were so many of them, but Kid Cudi and Cassie were really the big ones. There was another woman who was used to be like his receptionist or something of that matter, who said that she was kidnapped by him.
Oh, no.
And taken to the area where one of the other people were subsequently killed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and she did not want to go. She openly refused. She said she told him in text, from her voice.
And she testified to that in court?
Yes, she did. The thing is, she was very... I don't know how to explain her. She was very rude. I don't even know how to say it. She wasn't very polished on the stand.
Okay.
And so it was hard to kind of... You didn't immediately want to believe her because of how she was responding to questions.
Okay.
She was kind of... I don't know. Also, we didn't know some of these people's names, because a lot of people were afraid to testify under their name, and so they said, I won't unless I'm protected. And so we had like Jane and Mia, and like that's not their names, kind of thing. So the fact that I don't know, or I'm not saying their names, is not because I'm like, I don't know, or I don't remember. It's we don't know, Anyway, so yeah, one of them, I think it was that woman. She was very short with her responses, and also kind of like looked down upon, kind of, I don't know, she wasn't very likable, and so it was hard to want to believe her, but also that's not the reason you should believe or not believe a person on the stand. But anyways, that kind of played a role, I would think, in maybe some people's reception of her testimony. But still, that was her testimony, that she was kidnapped because she did not want to go. She refused many times, and he dragged her out anyways to go and execute this murder by gun, which he also had a lot of guns. I know you mentioned that earlier.
Yep, and he liked to wave them around all willy-nilly, just cut. Like,
fear tactics.
What?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. So, that's all I got on that part of the case. The rest of it's going to be all kind of Biggie and Tupac.
All allegations, and I cannot wait to dive right in. Oh my God, I have been chomping at the bit.
And 50 Cent.
So 50 Cent, after this documentary, man, so Diddy got 52 months in prison or something like that. After that time, we need to protect 50 with all we got. Okay.
I love him more now.
Seriously, I love him. And I just saw this interview with, I don't know if it was Gene Deal or what, but I saw a video where somebody's talking about how Diddy would just like have these videographers everywhere all around him all the time. Since Diddy wanted basically every second of every day of everything they were doing on video, like that adds up. Hours add up. And so then Diddy just didn't want to pay.
Oh, poor baby.
And
he always gets his way.
Yeah. And then 50 Cent shows up and he's like, well, I can pay them. He would always hire these kids that, like, they they were okay taking like less money or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, the promise is, yeah, they would get payment.
Right.
And then, yeah.
But 50 said he would pay for it after Diddy was like, I can't pay you.
Yeah.
Okay. Why? I was like, oh my gosh. And you can't obviously see my face because it's a podcast. But I was like, oh, like mic drop, oh man kind of moment. Because if you didn't know, 50 and Diddy's whole relationship began. Do you know this, Lisa?
No.
The whole reason there's a feud or animosity between them is because their whole relationship began when 50 actually ghost wrote for Diddy sometimes.
Oh.
And they were fine in the very, 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 very beginnings.
Okay.
But then Diddy was like, hey, 50, how come you never come to my parties? And he was like, no, man, it's not my thing. And so he would start like kind of like really trying to egg him on coming. And he was like, well, okay, let's just hang out. And he was like, okay, hanging out's not too bad. So 50 would agree to hang out. He's like, what does that mean? He goes, let's just go shopping. Okay, I'll pay, says Diddy. And so when you said 50, he's like, I'll pay. I was like, oh, smack down. It's a whole reverse Uno kind of situation.
Yeah, so that footage just isn't yours anymore. So now Diddy's claiming, stolen footage. Like, no, it was paid for footage. Like, that ain't yours anymore. Like, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw this video, but there's an interview that 50 Cent did. I don't know if it was like on The View or something, which I don't watch The View, but it's just, they asked him who his favorite villain is. Mm. And 50 just smiles and goes, I like Diddy. And I was like, damn. We will get into the Tupac and Biggie of it all next time on Crime Chat. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.